Welcome to the TV Lounge, a place where we get together to view and discuss lesser-known TV series. You know, there are plenty of places to discuss the latest hit shows, but we're here to tell you about some older programs you might not have heard of or watched. Some are quite good, and others, well, they're worthy of discussion and dissection. So have a seat here in the extra recliner and join us in the TV Lounge. Well, Andy, here we are, episode 7 of Crime Traveler.
Yes, sir.
And I don't know about you, but I'm ready to move on to another show. And I think, as we said last time, we're going to start off with Briscoe County Jr. and see how that one goes.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one.
There is one announcement that when this episode is up, it is going to be on our new website.
That's right.
We had some problems with the site that was hosted over at Blogger, so I went ahead and registered the domain and set up a regular website. It's working out a whole lot better. I think it looks better, and as far as the functionality of being able to deal with it, it's a whole lot easier for me. It's at tvloungepodcast.com, and that's where this episode will be posted. That's where to go to get that. And I have put information to that effect on the old website. So we shouldn't drop anybody between moving locations.
Right.
Well, let's take a look at a little TV news before we get into our Crime Traveler episode. I don't know if you've heard about this, but J.J. Abrams has another pilot, and this one has actually been ordered to become a series by NBC. First, they looked at the pilot, and now they're saying, go ahead, let's do the series. It's called Undercovers. Now, we know J.J. Abrams. He's the man who did Lost, Alias. He did, was it Mission Impossible 3?
Yeah, tons of great stuff.
Anyway, the pilot was co-written by Abrams. NBC describes it this way. This is what their press release says. Outwardly, Stephen Bloom and his wife Samantha are a typical married couple who own a small catering company in Los Angeles and are helped by Samantha's easily frazzled younger sister, Lizzie. Secretly, the duo were two of the CIA's best spies until they fell in love on the job 5 years ago and retired. When fellow spy and friend Nash goes missing while on the trail of a Russian arms dealer, the Blooms are reinstated by boss Carlton Shaw to locate and rescue Nash. The pair is thrust back into the world of espionage as they follow leads that span the globe, and Stephen and Samantha realize that this supercharged undercover lifestyle provides the excitement and romance that their marriage has been missing. What do you think? Does that sound like something you're going to check out?
Yeah, I think, just because it's J.J. Abrams, I'm always interested in what he's doing, so I'll definitely check it out at the beginning, probably. Definitely, probably.
I think I will, too. I'll watch a few episodes and see how it holds up. Well, let's go on to the History Channel, which we really haven't touched on ever before, but the History Channel has some things coming up. Stan Lee, the man from Marvel Comics, is going to be hosting a show called Stan Lee's Superhumans. Now, this program is going to find people with remarkable abilities because of being genetically different. Daniel Browning Smith, he's the guy that's called the most flexible man. He's going to co-host the series. So what do you think of that one? You think they're going to be able to find some superhumans for the History Channel?
That'll be interesting to see. It'll be cool to see if they can actually find some kind of, superhuman type people as opposed to just kind of being a freak show, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Like I don't have any nerve endings in my hand, so I can, poke my hand with a needle and it doesn't hurt sort of thing.
Yeah, which,
That's not much of a superhuman.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see where that one goes. Some other things that the History Channel has lined up for us. First, Around the World in 80 Days. 3 hosts are going to race around the world using common and exotic methods of transportation. 10 episodes of this one have been ordered up already to start in the second quarter of 2011.
What does that mean? Common and exotic mode? I mean, couldn't they just take a is a jet exotic? What does exotic mean?
I don't know. Maybe when they say common and exotic, I guess any way you can get there.
Huh. Well, okay.
But there's 10 episodes, and maybe it'll go beyond that, and maybe it won't. Now, here's one that they're calling a docudrama. Now, don't get the wrong idea from this title, but the History Channel has 10 episodes ordered of this docudrama called Swamp People.
Oh, man. I know what I wish that show would be.
Okay, what do you think?
Well, no, it's just Swamp People.
You know what I think of? I think of that old Lon Chaney movie about the alligator people, the old black and white terrible movie where the people were turning into alligators. This one involves a group of Cajuns living in Louisiana during alligator hunting season. So that's why they're the Swamp People.
Okay.
How about Vigilant Inspector? This is where a pair inspect decaying infrastructures like bridges, levees, highways. 10 episodes on that one as well. Now, I don't know if I want to watch some guys go inspect bridges and levees and highways, because I'd be afraid of what they'd find, and I don't think I'd want to, drive on that bridge.
No, that sounds like a terrible idea for a series. The title's not good either. Vigilant Inspector, it just sounds like really boring.
Well, then maybe you'll like this title. How about this one? Chasing Mummies. This one follows an archaeologist through like 250 digs all around Egypt. That's chasing mummies.
That could be interesting. I'd much prefer that one to watching an inspector inspect bridges vigilantly.
Yeah, this one could be quite educational. Here's another one that they're not really saying much about it, but it's called The History of the World in 2 Hours.
And that's a History Channel one?
That's the History Channel, yeah.
Oh,
that even has to be more condensed than those Reader's Digest abridged books.
Yeah, that's
the whole history of the world in 2 hours.
Pretty good.
Now, this one, I don't know. This might make a lot of people uneasy. It's called Voices from Inside the Towers. This details phone calls made from inside the World Trade Center during the 9/11 attacks.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But I don't know. That one might be a little hard one to listen to.
I think that one, I agree. I think that could be a little hard to... I'd be really interested to hear it, though.
And finally, they have 3 specials about presidents or president-related. The first is called Jefferson. And then there's President's Book of Secrets and a program called Reagan. So those are some of the things coming up on the History Channel that we will see in the next year or so.
Very cool.
All right, now I think we ought to just go ahead and jump into Crime Traveler and episode number 7, The Lottery. The episode starts with Holly Turner working to make repairs on her time machine. At the same time, Jeff Slade is outside the entrance of Holly's apartment building. He buzzes the door, and Danny, the maintenance man, lets him in. Danny notices that Jeff is carrying a somewhat pathetic bouquet of flowers. Danny takes the flowers and gives Jeff a much bigger bouquet of red flowers.
So you took my advice?
What's that?
The flowers. They're there for Holly.
Well, they're certainly not for you.
Right idea, wrong flower. She hates carnations.
Oh, does she? How'd you know that?
Who do you think empties the bins? Here, we can do better than this. Take these.
Oh, wow.
They're for Mrs. Hazeldine in 23. Delivered yesterday, but she's in Paris till next week. She'll never know the difference.
We next see Jeff knocking on the door to Holly's apartment, and she is obviously still upset with him based on how she greets him.
Hi.
Is this a surprise? What is it this time? Someone's been murdered? Crown jewels have been stolen? Break-in at Buckingham Palace? Whatever it is, the answer's no.
Jeff produces the flowers and tells her he has come to apologize. She softens at the sight of the flowers and begins to trim them to put them in a vase. As she does, Holly finds a card with the flowers.
You've put in a note to a very special person.
Have I?
To the kindest, sweetest girl in Sundown Court. Always yours. Doesn't sound like you.
Well, I do have a gentle side.
Why have you signed it Pumpkin?
It's later that evening. Jeff and Holly are talking on the couch. Jeff confesses that he has another reason for being there. Holly automatically assumes that he wants to use the time machine again. But Slade says he has been thinking about her situation and thinks he has a solution. He turns on her television. There is a lottery drawing. As the numbers are announced, Jeff writes them on a piece of paper. The numbers are 8, 12, 11, 22, 6, and 1. When Holly asks him if he has won anything, Jeff says he did not even enter, but he plans to.
You won anything?
No, I haven't even entered yet. That's the point. Why don't I enter now?
Oh, so that's what this is all about, is it? You mean go back in time?
Yeah, only needs an hour. Enough time to get to the newsagents, buy
I thought we'd been through all this.
I know. It's a paradox. Time won't allow paradoxes. When I get back to the present, the slip will be blank. I know that.
So?
Look, I'm not thinking of myself here. Honestly, I'm not. You need money to finish the machine. 6 million, 7 million. I'm doing this for you.
Go on.
Right. I use the machine to go back. I tell you the numbers, you place the bet, and you collect the money. Where's the paradox in that?
It won't work.
Why?
Because if I'd won the lottery just now, I'd know about it, wouldn't I? I'd have a ticket.
Well, how do you know you haven't got one? Could be in your desk.
Don't remember putting one there. Does that matter? I don't remember seeing you today at all.
That's because I haven't time travelled yet. Look, I go back. I tell you the numbers and you buy the ticket. When I get back, you'll still have it. It can't fade away because I didn't buy it. If you say yes...
I don't say yes.
Why not? What have you got to lose? Look, the least you can do is treat it as some sort of experiment. A scientific experiment into the nature of paradox. If it does work, you'll have enough money to finish the machine. You can do whatever you like.
But it's cheating.
It's not. It's not cheating. In an ideal world, you'd get lottery funding anyway. Oh, come on, Holly. What can possibly go wrong?
With that, they fire up the time machine. Holly leaves Slade to travel back by himself after memorizing the winning numbers. After traveling back, Slade writes down the numbers on a piece of paper and puts it in his pocket. He takes the time machine watch, noting that he has gone back a little more than 12 hours. When he looks around the apartment to find Holly and give her the lottery numbers, he is told by Danny that she has just barely left the building. Slade runs outside only to watch her drive off. Danny assumes something has happened between Holly and Slade. It's here that Danny advises Jeff to buy flowers.
You two had an argument? Yeah. You just came from her flat, right? Not that it's any of my business.
Yeah. No, we haven't even spoken.
Bad as that, eh? Jeff, do you want my advice? Buy her some flowers. Never fails.
Slade rushes to the police station but finds that Holly hasn't come in yet. So he begins to write a note on the whiteboard in her office with the lottery numbers. However, he is interrupted by Kate Grissom before he can finish. She has a case for him. As they enter the parking garage, Grissom shows Slade a file of a known bank robber named Mickey Sissons.
We've had a stroke of luck, a tip-off, anonymous. According to our source, Sissons is targeting a deposit company in the city. They're called Ducan Security.
Chief, can you just wait for half an hour?
No, it can't. This morning they took possession of 30 bars of gold bullion, 99.9% pure, and it's going out tonight.
Too much of a temptation.
Exactly. It's just the sort of job that would appeal to Sissons and the perfect opportunity for us. I want him, and we're going to get him. Get in!
Slade wanted to wait the half an hour in order to get the message to Holly about buying the lottery numbers, but Grissom has ordered him to get into the car, and off they go. As they drive off, Holly pulls into the garage. Slade has missed her. Grissom and Slade have gone to Ducan Securities to meet with the director, Mr. Ducan. He tells them that the gold bars are worth almost £3 million sterling. When Slade asks why the gold is there, he says his company is assisting in the transfer of ownership. He wants to move the gold, but Grissom wants to use it as bait to catch Sissons.
My job is simply to lodge the gold on behalf of my clients until the paperwork has been completed. But in the circumstances, I think it might be more appropriate if we moved it straight away.
Oh, no, Mr. Ducan. That's the last thing we want you to do.
But if you think this man Sissons is planning some sort of attack...
We don't think it. We know it.
What do you say? Do you actually want him to come here?
Sissons is a very big fish, Mr. Ducan. We may never get another opportunity like this.
Opportunity? You're talking about £3 million worth of gold, not to mention the safety of my staff.
There'll be no danger. You have my word on it. My officers will be watching throughout the day.
And if you're wrong?
Then I personally shall take full responsibility.
At police headquarters, Holly Turner enters her office. With her attention on some papers, she erases everything on the whiteboard without even looking at what Slade wrote. As they leave Ducan Securities, Grisham instructs Slade to join Nicky Robson and Detective Morris across the street to keep watch on the building. Slade asks if the stakeout has a phone. Grisham says no, and it doesn't have a fax or a jacuzzi either. She says it's an empty room and he is to stay there. At the surveillance post, Slade is obviously anxious to try to contact Holly with the lottery numbers. Nicky says Slade can borrow his mobile phone, but when Slade tries to use the phone, it turns out that Nicky forgot to charge it. At the securities company, we see a man going downstairs to the secure area. He gets a box of copy paper and a couple of boxes of pencils. When he leaves, we hear tapping on the wall and see some of the bricks starting to be pushed out of place. Back at the surveillance room, Slade looks out a window and notices a phone booth across the street. He says he's going to leave for just a moment for some fresh air. Obviously, he wants to use the phone booth to contact Holly.
Back in the secure area of the security company, we see someone on the other side of the wall knock out enough bricks to make a hole in the wall. As Slade gets to the phone booth, a woman cuts in front of him and begins stacking a large amount of coins by the telephone. It's obvious she's going to be on the phone for quite some time. At the security company, a group of masked men suddenly comes running up the stairs. They demand to see the manager. Ducan says he's the manager, and they make him lead them to the vault where the gold is being stored. Meanwhile, Slade is walking around the phone booth. Finally, he flashes his police badge and pulls the woman out so he can make his call. Mr. Ducan has taken the masked men to the vault and says he can't open it because it has a timed lock. However, when threatened to be shot, he punches in the code to open the vault. He's then knocked unconscious by one of the thieves. Back at the phone booth, Slade is trying to call Holly Turner at her office, but she's just outside her office talking with Grisham. She does hear the phone ringing, but doesn't hurry to answer it. Inside Ducan Securities, a guard maneuvers close enough to set off an alarm.
Just as Holly picks up her phone, Slade hears the alarm and runs from the phone booth. He runs into the building and down to the vault where he discovers the unconscious Mr. Ducan. The gold is gone. Hearing the crooks, Slade goes down to the supply room and follows them through the hole in the wall. He attempts to pursue the thieves through an old system of tunnels, but they delay him by exploding a hand grenade. When the thieves reach outside, they remove their masks and toss them into a nearby trash dumpster along with their guns. They run out into the streets. One of them has a large bag, which we assume has the gold bars. Slade spots a woman carrying a similar bag. She gets into a car and drives off, but Slade gets the license plate. Back at the securities company, Slade gives the license plate information to Morris to have it checked. Then he goes to a desk and attempts to use the phone, but the phone is dead. The explosion in the tunnel also severed the phone lines to the building. So Slade grabs a piece of paper and writes a note to Holly with instructions for playing the lottery. He gives the paper to one of the officers and asks him to take it back to the station and give it to Holly. In his office, Mr. Ducan is not happy.
I told you and your chief, Miss Grisham, but you wouldn't listen. And now I've got a terrified workforce, a wall torn down, thousands of pounds worth of damage, not to mention our reputation, and the gold's gone. What have you got to say?
Actually, it's Mrs. Grisham.
What?
She's married.
I don't care if she's the Queen of Sheba. Heads are going to roll. I'll tell you that now.
Mr. Ducan.
I'm not finished.
I think you have. We may have stood a better chance of preventing this if you'd mentioned to me that you had some sort of pedestrian subway conveniently located next door to the vault.
I didn't know anything about it.
They must have dismantled the wall from the other side, brick by brick.
So where were you? You were supposed to be watching this place. I could have been killed. They could have fractured my skull.
Why did they knock you out anyway? What did you say to them?
I didn't say anything. I just opened the safe, and that was it.
Slade is summoned out of the office to meet an angry Grisham.
Do you do it on purpose, Slade? I mean, have you got something against me?
I can explain.
Don't even try. According to my information, you were on the telephone when it happened. Well, are you going to explain why you left a stakeout despite my express orders to the contrary?
It was personal.
Personal?
Look, it wouldn't have made any difference where I was. They came from inside, through a tunnel.
It's your attitude that makes the difference, Slade. You just don't care, do you?
Yes, I do.
But Grisham also tells Slade that she is now off the case and in danger of losing her job.
It doesn't make any difference now anyway. I'm off the case. And by the time the commissioner's finished with me, I'll be off the force as well.
What?
He wants to see me this evening, 7:30 in my office.
He's not going to fire you.
Well, what do you think he's going to do, promote me?
This wasn't your fault.
It was my call. I used the £3 million worth of gold as bait. And Sissons took it, literally.
Do you know where Sissons is?
Well, of course I do. I've had him under surveillance since this thing began.
And?
He's at home. You don't think he's going to get his hands dirty, do you? This is his work, but he's probably spent the last 3 hours having lunch with the Archbishop of Canterbury.
When Slade asks if they can arrest Sissons, Grisham tells him that the only thing they can do is find the gold.
At police headquarters, the man that Slade gave the note to enters and asks for Holly. But before he can find her, he is called away to take a phone call and misses Holly entering her office. Back in the alleyway where the thieves dumped their masks and guns in the trash, Slade, Grisham, and Nicky are trying to find out how the crooks got away so fast. Slade tells Grisham that one of them was carrying a large blue bag. He also asks Morris about the vehicle registration.
I just don't understand it, Chief. They were only just ahead of me. They must have known we had the place surrounded. We had officers everywhere. And how did they get away with the gold? How did they move so fast? They must have weighed a ton.
Actually, the standard gold bar weighs 400 fine troy ounces. If there were 30 of them, that would make it, what, £750?
It's still impossible. They came up here and it vanishes into thin air.
They could have had someone waiting.
Yeah, there was a girl, a woman. She was carrying a holdall. I think it was the same one.
She couldn't have carried that weight, surely.
Did you check out the registration number?
Yeah, Janine Palmer. It's a company car. I've got an address.
Well, talk to her if you think it'll do any good. You know where to find me.
Back at the police station, the man with the note for Holly just misses her again, so he tapes the note to her office door.
Riding in Nicky's car, Slade once again borrows his mobile phone and calls the station, but he's told that Holly just left. But Slade should be able to contact her on her car phone. Slade calls Holly's car phone, but when she answers, she drives into a tunnel and loses the connection. Slade and Nicky arrive at the business where Janine Palmer works. Slade asks to examine her blue bag. It's empty, but Slade notices what looks like a bit of white paint inside. He says he's going to keep the bag and then asks to use her fax machine. Again, he writes his lottery note to Holly and sends the fax directly to her office. Unfortunately, Holly's fax machine is out of paper. As they leave, Nicky and Slade walk past the thieves. They call Sissons, who tells them not to worry. The police don't have anything to go on. Besides, he knows the police are watching him, and he intends to lead them on a wild goose chase.
Next, we see Slade entering the police training center where Holly is lecturing. The woman at the front desk tells him where she is and gives directions to get there.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hi. You've got a Holly Turner lecturing here today. Can you tell me what room she's in, please?
Just 1 minute, sir. She's in 712.
712. Where's that, please?
Down the stairs along the corridor, then up 2 flights of stairs, through the gallery, take a left, then 3 steps down by the lift, through the double doors, and it's at the end on your right.
Right. Thank you.
Slade accidentally leaves the bag by the reception desk. Using those directions, Slade naturally becomes lost. Before he can get to the room where Holly is lecturing, a guard spots the bag left by the front desk and sets off the fire alarm. Everyone in the lecture hall, including Holly, leaves. Slade grabs the bag again as he leaves the police training center and returns to the station. He takes the note taped on Holly's door and puts it on a table in her office. Morris gets a phone call. It's a tip regarding Sissons. He's on the move. Slade says they have to go after him since he's the only lead they have to the gold. Holly returns and is about to enter her office when an officer brings a large tray full of samples for Holly to analyze. Holly has him set the tray on the same table that has Slade's note. The note is now covered up by the sample tray.
Meanwhile, Slade, Morris, and Nicky have followed Sissons to a small cafe. They see Sissons get up from his table holding a newspaper. Inside the cafe, we see a man enter from the side and make eye contact with Sissons. Sissons briefly moves out of Slade's line of sight, but comes right back holding up the paper as if he's reading it. However, his face is not visible. While they watch the man in the cafe, Slade, Morris, and Nicky discuss the lottery. Morris shares his lottery numbers.
Do you ever play the lottery?
No, not me.
Waste of time. Complete waste of money. I've done it since it started. I haven't won anything.
7 is my birthday. 28 is my age. 10 is the number of my flat. 31 was my scout number. My girlfriend's 33. And 40 is my lucky number.
Thanks for sharing that with us, Morris.
While they're discussing the lottery, Nicky spots a young man across the street by the cafe. He stops and begins painting graffiti on the wall. Nicky and Morris discuss the artistic value of graffiti, which gives Slade an idea.
Oh, look at that. That kid spraying the wall. You know, some people say it's an art form. Graffiti. Urban art.
Art form. Pull the other one. How do you call that? Art. Painting a load of bricks.
Of course. Of course, that's it.
What is?
The gold!
Slade, Nicky, and Morris run across the street to the cafe. Slade grabs the newspaper and discovers that the man reading it is not Sissons. Slade finds a side exit and realizes where Sissons has gone, the Ducan Security Building. At the Ducan Building, we see Sissons supervising a group of Ducan security men who are hauling a large tarp loaded with bricks up the stairs from the vault area. The police arrive just as they are preparing to take the bricks out to a waiting van. Sissons fires a shot at Slade and tries to escape through the hole in the wall. Slade chases after him. He shoots at Slade but runs out of bullets. Jeff Slade quickly overtakes Sissons and arrests him. When Slade hands Sissons off to Morris, he says he needs to make a phone call. Once again, he tries to reach Holly. He calls her apartment, but she is in the shower and doesn't hear the phone ringing until it's too late. As she gets to the phone, it stops ringing. Slade hung up the phone when he saw Nicky coming toward him. Then he has an idea.
Just do me a favour. It's 7:05, you've got 25 minutes.
Oh, 25 minutes for what?
I want you to go around the corner to that newsagent's and buy me a lottery ticket.
Is this a wind-up?
No, it's not a wind-up. I'm just feeling lucky.
You know that according to the official figures, the chances of actually getting the 6 numbers are 13,983,816 to 1.
I'm feeling very lucky.
Well, why don't you do it yourself?
I can't. No, I can't explain. There's a pound, and here are the numbers. Now, these are the exact numbers I want. I do not want you to change them, and I want you to do it now.
Are you sure this is legit?
Yes, it's no problem. You're off duty anyway. You'll be doing me a really big favour.
What about you?
I'm just going to finish up here, okay?
Slade has given Nicky the folded-up paper with the winning lottery numbers. Back at police headquarters, Kate Grissom is alone in her office writing a letter of resignation when the commissioner arrives. At the same time, Slade races to the station and bursts into their meeting. He says they have the thieves and the gold. Then he explains how it was done.
I do understand the thinking behind your strategy, Kate, but I have to agree with... What was his name?
Mr. Ducan.
You put your ambition regarding Sissons above and beyond your duty to protect the public.
Yes, sir.
I suppose I could argue the toss if you'd actually got a result out of it, but the gold is gone. Sissons is free.
Yes, sir. I agree, which is why...
Chief? Oh. Good evening, Commissioner. It worked out just like you said, Chief.
Did it?
Yeah. We've got Sissons, Janine Palmer, and the other 3 downstairs.
What are you talking about?
The robbers, sir. And we've got the gold, too.
What? Where was it?
Well, it was right in front of our eyes. When they knocked through into the storeroom from the tunnel, they left the white bricks all over the floor, and they put the 30 gold bars in amongst them. But first of all, they painted them white to match.
This is gold!
Yeah. I wondered why they knocked out Ducan after he'd opened the safe. Of course, it was because they didn't want him to see what they were going to do.
And the white paint?
Well, that was in the hold-all. You noticed the stain on the bottom, didn't you, Chief, straight away? I could kick myself.
Well, I did wonder.
After they sprayed the gold, they ran into the tunnel, out into the market, gave the hold-all to Janine Palmer, and then disappeared into the crowd. No robbers, no gold, nothing. But when the heat was off, all they had to do was return to Ducan's, posing as building contractors to repair the damage, and they had all the time in the world to pick up the gold. They even had the security men to give them a hand.
You've done very well, Slade.
Oh, no, Chief. This one's all down to you.
Slade goes back to Holly's apartment and uses the time machine to return to the present. When he does, something on the machine explodes. He has fried part of the time machine. Holly is waiting just outside the room and sees the machine smoking when he opens the door. She's quite upset, but Slade tells her not to worry. However, Holly is still not convinced.
Oh, no! I knew I shouldn't have listened to you. Oh,
What is it?
I don't know. Laser refractor. £200 plus VAT.
Don't worry. You can buy a new one.
Oh, sure.
Well, you can buy 100.
You did it.
Well, there was a slight change of plan.
Go on.
Well, I gave the numbers to Nicky and he did it for me. I couldn't contact you. Don't worry, it'll work out exactly as I said.
He won't have done it. He'll have lost the ticket. The news agents will have been shut. He will have got stuck in the lift.
Why are you such a pessimist?
Because I know time. The laws of time.
It won't let you cheat. Well, we'll see about that.
The next morning at the police headquarters, Nicky is popping open a bottle of champagne, and everyone begins congratulating Slade. However, Slade learns he is not exactly a millionaire.
Congratulations, Slade.
Thanks, Nicky.
Those numbers, how did you know?
See, told you.
Oh, what's going on?
He won the lottery. He gave me the numbers and he actually won.
I have to say, I always liked you, really. Well, deep down, Morris, to be honest, I've never liked you.
Well done, Slade.
Champagne all round.
Actually, the Illawarra Brut is a sparkling wine.
Cheers, Chief.
Cheers.
Cheers,
I still haven't thanked you for all you did last night.
Ah, that's okay. It's okay. I like to bow out in style.
Bow out? What do you mean?
Well, I enjoy the job, Chief, but speaking as a millionaire, I don't think I'm going to be hanging around.
Excuse me. I thought this was my money. You did this for me.
50-50.
Excuse me, Slade. Now, did you say millionaire?
That's right.
I don't think it's going to be as much as that.
Yeah, 6 numbers.
6. Robson?
Chief?
How many numbers did Slade get?
4.
4?
4?
You got 4, Slade. 4 out of 6. It's amazing.
No, that's not possible. You did do the numbers I gave you.
Yes. Yeah. And, here's the ticket.
Please read them upside down.
What?
These were the winning numbers.
He's read 6 and 12 as 9 and 21. Other than that, all the numbers stay the same.
I don't believe him.
You thought you had all 6 numbers?
So exactly how much have I won then?
Hard to say, but it could be as much as £500.
No, I asked the newsagent, and it's 186.
186.
186, about £14 less than a new laser refractor.
And that concludes episode 7 of Crime Traveler, The Lottery. Next up is the final program entitled The Broken Crystal. Holly's old flame comes back into her life, and Slade's jealousy gets the better of him. However, a new problem arises when the possibility of another time machine is brought into question.
Well, Andy, this is our next to last episode. I thought this one had some kind of funny moments, and I've got some nitpicks on this one. I noticed this is one episode that does not start with a crime that needs to be investigated using the time machine.
Yeah, that's true. It starts right off with Slade just trying to figure out a way to win the lottery using the machine.
But did you notice that Holly, she said, what is it now? You got this crime, that crime, something that needs to be solved with the machine, and he denies it. So he pretty much denies up front that he wants to use the time machine.
That's true.
But then it turns out he does want to use the time machine.
Yeah, just not to solve a murder, it's or not to solve a crime. It's interesting too because in this episode, I kind of found as I was watching it, it seemed like the crime was just more of a burden and something in the way of what he was trying to do. Where normally it's something that, you really want to see them solve the crime. But here it was just like, he's stuck. He's stuck solving the crime,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this comes up and it distracts him from doing what he wants to do.
Exactly.
It's kind of like Holly said, time is working against him.
Yeah.
Did you notice on the time machine, I don't know if I saw this on any previous episode, I don't know if I'll go back and look, But on the time machine, she has a reel-to-reel tape recorder.
Oh, I think I did see a reel-to-reel at some point back in previous episodes, which I don't know what that would be for.
My first thought was, okay, so, well, two thoughts. One was, oh, cool, that's where all the time machine noises are coming from. You throw the switches, turn on the tape,
sound effects,
and you play the sound effects of the time machine. The other thought was, could it be some sort of data? But then I realized that even in the early 80s, we were using cassettes for computer data, and by the late 80s, we had discs. So this is the late 90s. What is she doing with a reel-to-reel tape deck hooked up to the time machine if she's using it for some sort of data input?
Yeah, it's got to be sound effects. Because you can't have a time machine without it sounding really cool and making all sorts of flashing lights and stuff.
That was my thought. This is the sound effect.
Yeah.
Did you notice in the garage when Grissom is telling Slade about Sissons and how they got that anonymous tip? Did you notice that Grissom mispronounced anonymous?
No, what did she say?
She said anonymous.
Oh, really?
She did. She said they have an anonymous tip. A couple other things that I had at the Duquesne building. Did you notice all that big lettering with the arrow that was pointing down the stairs to the security area? It's like, down here, here's the secure part of the building.
Good
Come
plan.
this way. Blink, blink, blink. It's like they're advertising.
Yeah.
And the other thing I wondered was, why do they have the office supplies down in the same area? Are they having trouble with employees stealing pens and pencils that you've got to keep your copy paper and stuff in a secure area?
I'm going to stop that once and for all. No stealing Post-it notes.
Well, these companies, they do have the pens all chained up to the counters.
That's true.
That could be it. And speaking of that stairway, when Slade was chasing the man down the stairs, did you notice the security guard was just standing there pointing towards the stairway like he went that way? The guy's a security guard.
Why wasn't he chasing him?
Exactly. He doesn't even try to stop him or chase him or anything.
Well, and it's funny because Slade, I mean, how does that guy know that Slade is any sort of a cop or anything? I mean, he just looks like a normal guy.
He's just one of two guys running.
Yeah. Funny.
Hey, what did you think about, and I thought this was funny, but what did you think about when they were sitting in the car and Morris, he says that playing the lottery is a waste of time, it's a waste of money, but he's been doing it from the beginning?
Yeah, I've been doing it from the beginning and I haven't won anything.
So that's a typical Morris.
Yep.
Waste of time, waste of money, and I've been doing it from day one.
Yeah.
So... And did you like when Slade was chasing Sissons? I liked how Sissons ran out of bullets. How many times on TV does somebody really run out of bullets?
Yeah, not too often.
The only part where he messed up is when he ran out of bullets. You know what he forgot to do? He forgot to throw the gun at Slade.
Oh.
Well, now, granted, this is a TV show, and, you can't show things like in real life. But in real life, if you live alone and you're in the shower and you hear the phone ringing, especially, you're Holly, it could be an emergency at the police station or something that you need to answer that phone, you just come running out of the shower and you grab the phone. But it seems like Holly takes the time to put on a bathrobe and grab a towel to dry her hair first.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. I think if I thought it was important, I would just run out, grab the phone.
Yeah, exactly.
And did you love how Nikki read the numbers upside down?
Ugh, that was so aggravating.
It was
because Slade's plan worked. I mean, he did win the lottery a little bit. If Nikki would have read it the right way, totally would have been a millionaire.
I thought Slade could have kept that from happening. All he would have had to have done is he wrote the numbers down, draw a line under them.
Exactly, underline it.
Just to underline it so everybody knows if you underline something, which way is up.
Yeah. Yeah, and it always drives me nuts in shows like this where I just want to see him win once, you know? He could have, it's like, wah, wah, you can never win, or you can win just a little bit, but not that much. Yeah, but the thing I was thinking about this episode is the fact that he was able to win a little bit. You would think that would sort of give him the encouragement that, hey, this actually worked. Even though it was just a little bit, I managed to make it work. I'm going to do it again, but I'm going to make sure to do it right this time.
Yeah, because Holly told him, you can't circumvent time. You can't make something happen that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Even though he didn't win the big prize, he did make something happen that hadn't happened.
Yeah, and it seems like it worked because I guess he didn't sort of win or find out that he won until after he had come back. And
it would be nice if the series had continued. It would have been nice to see some way where he actually could have logically manipulated the travel back and made something happen that needed to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
For example, if they'd gotten to the point where maybe they could go back and run into Holly's father, him being caught in his loop of infinity, if they could have manipulated events so that they could pull him out of that.
Right. They would. Yeah, exactly. They wouldn't have had to. It's like they know that they can't go back and change anything that has already happened. But yeah, like you said, they could have put something in place to, in the future, cause something to happen. Yeah.
Right. It would have given them the payoff that they needed.
Yeah.
Well, do you have any other thoughts on this next to last episode of Crime Traveler?
Nope. I think that's about it. This is a pretty fun one.
It was kind of a fun one because it was different, and I thought it was funny how every time Slade tried to get the information to Holly about the lottery, something always happened to prevent him.
Yeah, the stars were kind of against him the whole way.
And so was time.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we'll just get ready to take a look at the next episode. You said that one was called The Broken Crystal, correct?
Yep.
All right, that'll be the last episode of Crime Traveler, and I think I'm about ready to be done with this series.
Yeah, I'm excited to move on.
All right, I will talk to you next time, Andy.